everybody. So, a little news here. Unfortunately, Khamzat Chimaev is out of the fight next weekend in Saudi Arabia, violently, and I mean violently ill. So, he's going back home, and hopefully he gets well soon. The replacement, Ikram Aliskerov. Who is Ikram Aliskerov? This guy is 15-1. His only loss in his 16-fight pro career is the Khamzat Chimaev. So this dude is a legit contender in only his third UFC fight. If he gets a knockout against Robert Whittaker, he'll go into a tie for the longest active UFC knockout streak. He's got 7 first-round finishes, 6 wins by knockout, 5 by submission. This guy has finished 11 of 15 wins, 73% finish rate. He's on a 7-fight win streak. We offered everybody in the division this fight. Nobody would take it except for Robert Whittaker. The main event is badass. This should be a great fight. And Khamzat, get well soon, my friend.
See, this is, y'all get me going again. He tweeted a picture of me, Leon, and Kobe under a rock or something. Let me see. I'm gonna save that photo. Boom. JDM is hurt. Usman and Kobe don't want it. I'm ready to face the winner of Leon. Listen, but this is one of those things because he does come down here in South Florida to train at a gym that I've been training at before he was even, you know what? Don't pull me down. See, now the competitor in me is gonna come out and I'm gonna start talking. All I can say is before he was dreaming of fighting in the UFC, I've been in this gym training and doing whatever and helping my guys, you know, get to the top while I got to the top. So yeah, now I know he comes down to South Florida and he trains, but it is what it is. I understand he's young and he's a hungry contender or whatnot. But listen, there's this thing called respect, and you show the respect in order for you to get the respect. And I'm the type of guy who I've been to the mountaintop and then I've come down, and you saw in that clip, I was helping you out. I was giving you a look. It's not one of those things to where you can sit here and say, oh, I'm scared of you, I don't want it. Listen, I took Khamzat on 9 days notice, and didn't him and Khamzat fight or something? Didn't Khamzat beat him before? No. They never fought, but but it is what it is. Like, Khamzat was arguably scarier than him, and he's been hurt. Khamzat hadn't fought a fight that lasted really till, you know, most of his fights ended in the first round. So it is what it is. I just let these guys talk. You know, I'm not in that place. When it's time for me to come out and dance, I step in that octagon and I dance all over motherfuckers. So
So you said something, I guess, about Islam possibly going up to middleweight. Drickus didn't like it. Talk to me.
So, like, literally, they asked me, like, yeah, will you fight Islam? And I was like, no, I want to fight Islam, but I think Islam was looking to be a double champion. He could go up and fight Duplessis right now and beat him. And I'm standing by that. I think he could. And, like, I was trying to be nice about it, but, like, honestly, Duplessis sucks. Like, if I'm being honest about it, like, skill for skill, like, I would dominate Duplessis. And I don't think he's that good. And I do think Islam would dominate him and out-grapple him and take him to the ground. And it's like, we're just talking here. I'm saying I think that Islam could beat you, and he wants to be, oh, you're a loser, and you know you got no fans. So now you already put your head in the mix with me. So like I beat Leon. Now that just sets the table for this fight right here. If he if he gets past Adesanya, and you know I never really met Duplessis like that at all. But you know, I asked him to come on the show once and he ignored it. So you know, fight that guy.
All right, guys, here I am again. Conor McGregor is out of 303 versus Michael Chandler with an injury. The new main event is Alex Pereira, former not only UFC middleweight champion, he's also the first and only fighter to win both middleweight and light heavyweight titles in UFC history. He also did it in the shortest amount of time. He did it in 736 days and 7 fights. He finished 7 of 9 wins by knockout, which is a 78% finish rate, and won 10 of his last 11 fights, and he is facing former UFC light heavyweight champion Yuri Prohaska, who has an unbelievable 23 first-round wins. He has 25 by knockout, 3 by submission. That is a 97% finish rate. The co-main event will be number 3 ranked Brian Ortega, who has the second most finishes in featherweight history and the second most submissions in featherweight history. He won Performance of the Night 8 times. And he will be taking on rising superstar Diego Lopez. He has 22 of his 24 wins coming by finish with 10 knockouts and 12 submissions. That's a 92% finish rate. Also, Jamal Hill is out with a knee injury. So, Carlos Ulberg, who is 11-1 and has 6 first-round finishes with 7 wins by knockout and 2 wins by submission and an 82% finish rate. And he's on a 6-fight win streak. Will now be taking on Anthony Smith. He has 21 first-round finishes, 19 wins by knockout, 15 by submission, and ladies and gentlemen, that's a 90% finish rate. So, it has been a crazy week here at UFC. That is the new lineup for UFC 303. I'll see you guys in Vegas.
All right, I'm walking outside, but I want to provide a little more context to today's breaking news. So as you just heard, the Conor McGregor-Michael Chandler fight scheduled for June 29th is off. It has been canceled. Conor McGregor suffered an injury about a day or so before that scheduled press conference in Dublin. That was early last week. And so that's why there wasn't a press conference. Now, the reason why they didn't want that to come out was because there was hope that the fight would still be on and that it would be all good and salvaged. And so you obviously don't want your opponent to know that you are hurt. Understandable. And so initially there was obviously some anxiety over the injury. Then there was optimism, as I've reported all along, and they started to re-promote it, and Michael Chandler did an interview about it and all this stuff. But then at the beginning of this week, the pessimism started to creep in, and about 48 hours or so ago, the realization was that this fight isn't going to happen. And so the UFC went into overdrive, and this was led by Hunter Campbell, who's become quite known now in the MMA community due to that UFC Fight Inc. docuseries on Roku. And they reached out to a bunch of people. The main one being, there aren't a ton of options right now, just given the schedule, given who has fought, given who is scheduled to fight. And the top choice seemed to be, from the beginning, Jiri Prochazka against Alex Pereira for the light heavyweight title rematch. There were some other feelers sent out to the likes of Max Holloway. There was some talk of a replacement for McGregor. Not a lot of options as far as a brand new fight is concerned. And finally, about around 24 hours ago, they really started to zero in on Prochazka and Pereira. Prochazka was in from the start. When he did that interview at the Octagon show, he was not referring to this. He was referring to perhaps the Perth card later this summer. Alex Pereira was the big hurdle, mainly because he's in Australia doing a seminar tour, taking some time off, but has continued to train, I'm told. He also had those 2 broken toes. One suffered before 300, one suffered during his win over Jamal Hill at UFC 300. But the man is stepping up again. Less than 10 fights in the UFC, and he's doing another incredible thing. The 2 MSG fights, 300, now stepping up. Obviously the other big fights as well. Double champion, all that stuff. And so nothing was ever going to compare to a McGregor fight. Nothing will compare, nothing can compare. But the UFC pulls another rabbit out of their hat and they get it done. Pereira Prochazka 2 is on. New main event, UFC 303, June 29th.
Oh, siamo demoni, eh? Siamo demoni.